what are we doing here today, Doctor? Why are we combining Astro-Numerology, and how is it different from the two individual techniques?
Okay. Thank you so much for this question, because it will really help our viewers to understand the science. Now, astrology, if I would say, is the chart based on your date of birth and time of birth and the place of birth, right? Now, and numerology is your date of birth. Now, what we do in astro-numerology is basically we combine the planets. So basically, if I just see numerology, every number is associated with a planet. But in astronumerology, we give you more of an astrological associations of the planets. In the sense, we are not reading your chart, but based on the numbers, we tell you whether, as per your astro-numero chart, do you have a weak sun? Do you have a weak moon? Do you have a weak guru? Do you have a weak Rahu? Or do you have some malefic planets? Or do you have some positive planets? So you make a numerology chart based on the astrology aspect of it, right? We just don't say that, okay, so you're born on a certain day, 21st. So you are number 3, fine. But is your number 3 in the positive, that Jupiter is positive for you in your date of birth or negative for you in your date of birth? That is something we teach in astronumerology. So, and then we give remedies. Okay. So suppose if some planets are malefic or some planets are negative, then we don't, we can't do anything, or we can't even find out whether they are positive or negative. But here we exactly tell you, yeah, okay, so this is good for you, this is bad for you, this is happening because of this, and the simple remedies that you take will definitely be beneficial to you. There are many people who don't know their time of birth. I get a lot of people who say, I don't know my time of birth. So then we are unable to make a chart. We're unable to make their horoscope. At this point of time, this astro-numero, the way you write the numbers, a specific way, and the specific way you come to know about the planets, whether they are helping you or they are not helping you. And if you want them to help you, what are the remedies that need to be done? That is something I use it in astro-numerology. Okay, so it really helps you to broaden, like, when I see certain combinations, there are certain combinations which are more astrology based, which like certain numbers, which are very powerful numbers. And when we look at the numbers, we say, okay, this, is something that the person can do really well in life. And there are certain numbers which are really problematic. So like I saw somebody's date of birth offhand, just some days, 3-4 days ago. And I just looked at the date of birth and I said, you should be having this issue, this issue, this issue, this issue. And she said, yes, I have all the issues. Now, what to do? And I said, yes, well, you have a lot of issues, but then I just suggested her a lot of remedies to help her out. And the main thing is, like, it just took me 2 minutes to understand that there were so many issues. I didn't need an astrological chart. I didn't need to do anything with the numerology. I just did this astro-numero calculations. And I knew that there was, so whatever planets. Now, what happens, we say Jupiter, but Jupiter, when we talk about Jupiter here, we just say, okay, it's a planet of wisdom, intellect, this. But the astrological connotation of how it helps in astrology, Jupiter, कौन से भाव होते हैं, and what is it required for, is something that we have borrowed from there, and we use it to help people through astronumerology. Do you understand? So when we talk about a planet Mars, Mangal, when we say, so what happens if your Mars is malefic, or what happens if your Mars is too strong? There are certain numbers in which you just look at the numbers and you say, it's difficult for this lady to get married. So just based on the number, it doesn't. So there are some Manglic numbers also in your astronumerology, which is very different from your numerology chart.
And Doctor, I want you to tell everybody, like right now, it's sounding as if, oh my God, do we need to be intuitive or is this very difficult? Right now, it's sounding like that. But, Doctor, we know you have a very interesting story about how you came into astronumerology. Please tell us. And at the end of it, I'm sure we will realize that, oh, I can do this too. Please tell us, Doctor.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very interesting story, and it happened with me in the year 2009. I met this person, and she was an astronumerologist, and she looked at my date of birth, and she just heard it. She didn't do any calculations in
Hmm.
hand. Maybe in the head, she did a lot of calculations, and then she just kind of started telling me a lot of things. And I just looked at her, and I just told her that I would like to learn this.
Hmm.
She said, something, I don't, this is all intuition. I said, I don't think so, it's intuition, but fine, the day you teach me. And then in 2012, I reached out to her again, and I said, my mother is very ill. That I remember I was calling her from the hospital, and I told her, my mother is very ill, and I don't know what to do. And she
Hmm.
just asked me the date of birth. And just asking the date of birth, she said, does your mother have any kind of a kidney issue?
Hmm.
And I was shocked because my mother kidneys had failed. And those who know me, I'm seeing some of my students down here, Meenal is here, and they must be knowing that, yes, my mother had a kidney failure. And I reached out to this lady, and she just hearing the date of birth, she told me that, does your mother have a kidney issue? And I said, yes, she does have a kidney failure. I'm in the hospital right now. Both her kidneys have failed. And she said, okay, fine. I said, what can be done? So she said, okay, so she just rattled out some Rudrakshas
Hmm.
for me. And I said, okay, I would like to buy them. So, and then I met her again, and I was taking it up, and I said, I would like to learn it again. She said, okay, I will teach you, provided you give me the right, you give me the right fees. I said, I don't mind giving the right fees. And then it is history, yeah, because within a week, 10 days, she called me and she said, I will teach you provided you pay me this much. I will not go into that, how much she asked. It was a huge amount. But I said, okay, I'm still in the hospital. I will pay you 50% right now. And the day we have the workshop, I'll pay the rest 50%. And so it came to me about 11, 12 years ago. And I have been practicing it since then. But it is something like, it was like magic for me. And whenever I do this with people, and things just kind of come out. So many things, you look at the numbers, and you just tell the person, you could be having these issues in your life. And it really, really makes a lot of difference.
You bet. And I have experienced this with you, doctor, and there is no hiding from you. And the best way to actually understand this, doctor, I think, is with the help of demonstrations. But before we
Yeah,
reach there,
I
I have one more question, doctor. And everybody, Dr. Geetanjali Saxena is one of the best people you will ever have to ask questions about astrology, numerology, astronumerology. Go ahead, ask what doubts you have, and we will take them up. Doctor, before anybody asks anything, I want to ask you that you have combined a little bit of astrology, numerology, and got both of them together.
yeah.
So, is it to say that this is more powerful or less powerful or easier or anything? So, how exactly is this more advantageous?
Okay, so see, I am an astrologer, as you know that my mother is an astrologer, and I have been learning astrology. I don't know since 2004 or five, and I still feel I don't know because it's such a huge science. There are so many ways of this astrology. There are so many. There is nakshatra astrology. There is um, there is this astrology which is like वैदिक एस्ट्रोलॉजी लाल किताब एस्ट्रोलॉजी
Hmm.
नेम इट तो वो पढ़ते पढ़ते ना आपको इतना टाइम लग जाता है सो I wanted something simple, giving a taste of astrology, but simple, which can be done in 3 days, which can be done in 4 days. Like, because you don't need to be then, that 10 saal, 15 saal padhai karke bhi. And now, to when I see a chart and I see that there is some problem with the chart, I prefer giving Rudrakshas as remedies rather than the actual gemstones. Because so many times, if a planet is malefic, for example, my Saturn is giving me problems because it's a Sadesati thing. I cannot wear a Neelam. You can't wear a Neelam.
Really?
Yeah, you can't wear a Neelam when there's a Sadesati happening. But you have a special Rudraksh which you can wear during that time. So, and a Rudraksha is, if the effect is not negative. So I really, really prefer, when it's easy and it's simple and it does not take a lot from you, and it's great. So I found it very simple. And I feel that, the numbers say something. And if you look into the numbers and if you take the right precautions, then that problem will not come in. How to say? You get the right resource. So looking at my numbers, I know that I could be having a heart disease in the future. So I take all precautions to avoid that. And suddenly, when I wear that Rudraksha and everything, and I know from where it is going to come in and things like that. So, you can be more careful, more vigilant, more in control. But this heart issue is not there in my astro chart. Correct? So it is different, but it is like a very strong thing and it speaks a lot.
Absolutely. And we will have demonstrations of this,
Yeah.
everybody. You will understand this better. And Dr. calls this the simplest advanced form of numerology. She's right. She has a fantastic workshop in store, which you can learn in 3 days. The details are coming up and the questions have started coming in, Doctor. Some really interesting questions. Money has asked that what if the numerology chart shows a lot of success, but the astrology chart does not look promising? Is this possible and can this be worked out?
Yeah, why not? For if the numerology chart is showing success and the astro-numero is not, astrology is not showing success, many a times it does happen. Like I have seen charts like that when in the astrology there is no divorce, but the numbers are showing a divorce, and vice versa. So things like that happen all the time. So it's okay.
Yeah,
So it always helps to get an additional perspective.
absolutely. You have like got both the areas covered. If something is missing here, you are going to cover it from this end,
Yeah,
Doctor.
but we are not teaching astrology here. So I when I do a astronumero session or I teach astronumero, I don't say the knowledge of astrology is required. That's what we are trying to make it simple.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds great, Doctor. And Dr. Preeti has asked that can we do future prediction and event analysis with astronumerology?
See, we can kind of teach you or tell you that this is a possibility. Like how I have seen my numbers and I know it can be a heart issue. So it's a future prediction, right? It's a future prediction. Now, I don't know what future prediction she requires, but whatever we can teach or whatever was taught to me will be taught. But if she says like 3 years down the line, this will happen, no, we can just tell ki, this is one of the pinnacles. Like, for example, there is one pinnacle which comes in, and when this pinnacle comes in, it creates a lot of separation between the couple. So those kind of things, we can tell the person and then it can be worked about.